It was a warm summer night in the northern city of Gdańsk, Poland. July 16th, 2010. A Friday. The streets near the Baltic Sea were alive with beachgoers, music, and nightlife. Among them was 19-year-old Iwona Wieczorek. Blonde, energetic, smart, and full of ambition. She had recently finished high school and was preparing to start a new chapter in her life. That evening, she went out with friends to a club called Dream Club in the popular seaside district of Sopot. They danced, they drank, they laughed. At some point, an argument broke out. Tension rose. Shortly after 3 a.m., Iwona decided to leave the club alone. She began the long walk back to her home in Gdańsk, roughly 6 kilometers away. She didn't take a taxi. She didn't wait for sunrise. She walked in heels along a coastal promenade, a route she had taken before. CCTV cameras captured her image several times, walking confidently, alone, with a towel draped over her arm. At 4:12 a.m., a city surveillance camera recorded her walking past a public toilet building near Reagan Park. She looked calm, focused. A few minutes later, she vanished. No screams, no sounds, no known witnesses. Iwona was never seen again. What followed would become one of the most high-profile and haunting missing person cases in Poland's modern history. A case that gripped the nation, sparked conspiracy theories, and left behind more questions than answers. The media called it the Polish Madeleine McCann. But this is not just a media story. This is a real case, with a real victim, a grieving family, and a trail of clues that seem to lead nowhere. In this documentary, we will explore the facts as they are known. No fiction, no embellishment, just the timeline, the theories, the failures, and the legacy of a disappearance that still echoes through the streets of Gdańsk. This is the story of Iwona Wieczorek, a teenager who walked away from a night out and never came home. To understand what was lost, we must understand who she was. Iwona Wieczorek was born on September 19, 1990, in Gdańsk, Poland. She was the only child of her mother and grew up in a close-knit household with her mother and stepfather. She had a strong relationship with her family, particularly her mother, with whom she shared an open and honest bond. Friends described Iwona as warm, cheerful, and friendly. She had a natural energy, the kind that filled a room. She loved music, dancing, and spending time at the beach. Like many girls her age, she was active on social media and liked to document her life. Photos with friends, beach trips, evenings out. But she wasn't superficial. Those who knew her say she was thoughtful and goal-oriented. She had just finished her final school exams and was planning her next steps, possibly university or travel. She had ambitions, though they weren't rigid. She was figuring things out, but she was doing it with confidence. At the time of her disappearance, Iwona was 19, legally an adult, but still very much at a turning point between youth and full independence. That night in Sopot wasn't unusual. Young people often went out, especially in the summer, especially near the beach. But what made Iwona different, perhaps, was her independence. She wasn't afraid to make decisions, to leave the club when she didn't feel comfortable, to walk home alone when she thought it was necessary. She trusted her instincts, and she trusted the city she knew. The route she took that night was familiar. The beach promenade between Sopot and Gdańsk is scenic, open, and well lit in places. It was a route she had likely taken before, a walk that, in her mind, would take less than an hour. She didn't text anyone to say she was in danger. She didn't sound alarmed in the few messages she sent before she vanished. She was walking with intention. That was Iwona. Composed, head held high. To this day, her mother continues to speak publicly about Iwona with pride. Not just about the case, but about the person. She doesn't want her daughter to be remembered only as a mystery or as that girl who disappeared. She wants the world to remember the girl who was driven, loving, and real. This chapter isn't just about background. It's about context. It's about remembering that behind every missing person case, there is a human being with memories, routines, quirks, and dreams. Iwona was not reckless. She was not naive. She was a young woman making a reasonable choice on a summer morning. And somehow, that choice led to silence. What happened between that last camera frame and the next moment, the moment she should have arrived home, remains one of the most painful blanks in Poland's criminal history. And so, before we explore what went wrong, we hold space for who she was. Not a symbol, not a case number, but a daughter, a friend, a young woman on the edge of something bigger, until the moment it all stopped. The day began like any other. It was Friday, July 16th, 2010, the height of summer in Gdańsk. The temperature reached the mid-20s Celsius, the Baltic breeze was warm, and for many young people, the weekend was just getting started. That evening, Iwona Wieczorek made plans to go out with a small group of friends. They were headed to Sopot, a neighboring resort town known for its nightlife, beach clubs, and vibrant promenade. Iwona wore a black mini dress and high heels. She also carried a pink and orange beach towel, planning perhaps to end the night at the beach. Around 9 p.m., the group met at a friend's apartment. Later, they made their way to Dream Club, one of Sopot's busiest nightclubs. They danced, they drank, but tension grew. Iwona reportedly argued with one of the male friends. Frustrated, she made a decision. At 3:07 a.m., she exited the club, alone. This is important. She didn't vanish from a dark alley. She left a busy club on a busy street. Cameras captured her. People saw her. She began walking toward her home in Gdańsk, about 6 kilometers away. She didn't take a taxi. She didn't call home. She walked. Multiple CCTV cameras picked her up. She appeared calm, walking steadily, the towel still over her arm. She was not staggering. She was not confused. At 4:12 a.m., she was recorded by a city camera near Reagan Park, walking past a public toilet building. And then, nothing. No more video, no phone signals, no texts, no screams, no witnesses, just silence. Why didn't anyone from her group check on her? Their answer, she had done this before. She didn't seem scared, just determined. She had no known enemies, no reason to run, no motive to vanish. She simply walked away from a party and never came back. What happened in the 15 to 20 minutes that followed, on a route she knew well, has baffled Poland for over a decade. In the next chapter, we'll trace her last known movements second by second and the chilling clues that followed. Between 4 and 4:12 a.m. on July 17, 2010, Iwona Wieczorek was seen walking alone on a seaside promenade through Ronald Reagan Park in Gdańsk. It was still dark, though dawn was beginning to break. The path she took, a paved pedestrian route, ran parallel to the beach and was lined with trees and street lamps. The area was not deserted. It's frequented by joggers, early walkers, and night owls. And yet, no one has come forward to say they saw her that morning. The final confirmed image of Iwona was captured by a city surveillance camera at 4:12 a.m. She walks past a public toilet building with her towel still over her arm. Her pace is consistent. Her posture is upright. Nothing seems wrong. And then, she vanishes from the grid. The crucial minutes. The next 10 to 15 minutes were crucial, because that was approximately the time she needed to walk the remaining 1 to 1.5 kilometers to her home. But she never arrived. Her phone stopped responding. Her location was never updated, and no additional surveillance footage has ever been released or confirmed by police. 2 details that still haunt investigators. 1. The backpack man. A man with a backpack was seen walking behind Iwona on surveillance footage around 4 a.m. He appeared to follow the same route she did. He was never publicly identified. Police claimed to have questioned him, but gave no details. 2. The towel. The pink and orange towel seen in footage was never found. Her clothes, phone, shoes, all gone. Not a single trace. The aftermath. Police and volunteers searched the area for weeks. Drones, dogs, divers, helicopters. Nothing, not even a dropped item. This silence led to dozens of theories. Did she willingly disappear? Was she abducted? Did she fall into the sea? Was someone waiting for her along the path? There is no evidence for any of them. That's the problem. The case exists in a vacuum, a gap between certainty and speculation. Final phone ping. The last ping from Iwona's phone placed her near Reagan Park. Then, nothing. The phone went silent. No goodbye, no struggle, no sound. Just a girl walking home through a city she knew, and then silence. In the next chapter, we examine how police responded, what went right, and what may have gone terribly wrong in the first days of the investigation. By sunrise on July 17, 2010, something was wrong. Iwona Wieczorek hadn't come home. Her mother began to worry almost immediately. Iwona had always been responsible. She didn't stay out without notice. She didn't go silent. When her phone stopped ringing and messages went unanswered, concern turned to fear. Around 6 a.m., her mother started calling friends. No one knew where she was. Within hours, she contacted the police. But what happened next is a chapter in itself. Delayed response. The initial police response was dismissive. Officers reportedly told the family to wait. Iwona was 19, legally an adult. Maybe she stayed out late. Maybe she needed space. Maybe she'd turn up. But her mother knew. This wasn't like her. It took days before a formal investigation truly began, and by then it was too late. Those early hours, the so-called golden window in missing person cases, were lost. The search begins. Too late. When police finally acted, they began reviewing CCTV footage from Gdańsk and Sopot. They interviewed friends, canvassed the park, and organized search teams, but the delay had consequences. Rain may have washed away evidence. Some surveillance footage was overwritten. Potential witnesses disappeared into the crowd of passing time. Media spotlight. The case soon exploded in Polish media. TV stations, posters, websites, all carried Iwona's face. She was young, beautiful, and her disappearance made no sense. The public paid attention, but leads scarce. The backpack man seen following her was found and questioned, but never arrested. Police never shared his name. They simply said he wasn't involved. Her friends were also questioned. Some gave inconsistent statements, but nothing stuck. Family and community. For Iwona's family, the delay was devastating. Her mother became a tireless advocate, speaking to the press, demanding action, refusing to let the case fade. Locals joined in. Volunteers searched the coast, the woods, the city. Divers combed lakes. Psychics offered theories. Nothing helped. And the clock kept ticking. Rumors grew. Suspicions shifted in all directions. Strangers, friends, even police. But real answers? Still out of reach. The lost hours. What's clear is this. the early response was not enough. The gap between Iwona's disappearance and police urgency may have been only 24-48 hours. But in cases like this, that gap can mean everything. In the next chapter, we examine the official investigation, what was discovered, what wasn't, and why the truth still feels just out of reach. The investigation into Iwona Wieczorek's disappearance was massive and deeply flawed. As public pressure grew, so did media coverage. TV crews aired nightly specials. Online forums erupted with speculation. And with that came dozens of theories. Some plausible, others outlandish. What was actually found? Police recovered footage from over 40 cameras along Iwona's route. The footage confirmed her path, walking alone, calmly, toward Reagan Park. The backpack man followed behind her at a distance. He was questioned and released. Police said he was just a tourist. They never released his name. Phone records. Her last phone activity was just before 4:12 a.m. Then, silence. The phone disconnected and was never found. No physical evidence, despite weeks of searching. No clothes, no towel, no phone, no body, no scene of struggle. The theories. 1. She met someone she knew and followed them willingly. 2. A random abduction, fast and silent. 3. A secret party near the promenade, where something went wrong. 4. A prepared predator who knew the area and the camera blind spots. 5. A cover-up, involving someone powerful. Most theories are speculation. There's no proof, just absence. The investigation expands. In 2012, the case was taken over by CBS, Central Bureau of Investigation. Later, a cold case unit re-examined it. Investigators used digital enhancement, mobile signal reconstruction, geomapping. Still, no breakthrough. In 2021, police even excavated private property near Gdańsk based on a tip. Nothing was found. Sightings abroad? There have been reports of Iwona sightings in Poland, Germany, Spain. None confirmed. The black hole of the case. Everyone knows the headlines, but the raw evidence, full footage, timeline, still unreleased. Even journalists say, there's more we're not being told. The most likely theory? That she was abducted silently, that her body was hidden well, that it happened fast and clean. No struggle, no clues, just disappearance. It's the simplest theory and the most devastating. The disappearance of Iwona Wieczorek wasn't just a personal tragedy, it became a national conversation. Media storm. From the start, the Polish media covered the case with intense interest. News programs aired daily updates. Talk shows speculated. Online forums exploded with theories. Iwona's face, young, blonde, smiling, became instantly recognizable. The public connected with her, a normal girl on a normal night who simply vanished. Sympathy turns to obsession. But over time, sympathy turned into obsession. Journalists demanded updates. Her mother appeared on national television, grieving but composed. But not all media coverage was respectful. Tabloids published rumors. Private texts were leaked. Headlines questioned her decisions. Why did she leave alone? Was she hiding something? Was she drunk? This subtle shift from victim to subject is familiar in media storms. It hurt her family deeply. Chaos online. Meanwhile, online spaces turned into digital battlegrounds. Anonymous users named suspects. Wild theories went viral. Tips flooded hotlines. Most were false. A psychic claimed to know where her body was, leading to a fruitless dig. Every new headline felt like hope. And then, disappointment. Pressure and its price. public pressure forced police to act quickly. But pressure can distort priorities. Leads were sometimes followed not because they were strong, but because they were loud. The internet amplified everything, every contradiction, every blurry frame, every rumor, and slowly, Iwona's story changed from a missing girl to a national puzzle. Help or harm? Some say this attention helped. It kept the case in the spotlight. Others believe it hurt, contaminating the investigation and clouding public understanding. But one thing is clear: the media didn't just tell Iwona's story, they shaped it. In the final chapter, we return to what remains: the unanswered questions, the enduring grief, and the legacy of a girl who never came home, but who has never been forgotten. It has now been more than a decade since Iwona Wieczorek disappeared. Her face remains one of the most recognized in Poland. Her name, synonymous with unanswered questions. But behind the headlines, beyond the timelines, there is still a human story. A mother still searching. A city still wondering. A country that still remembers. What happened? What happened on that July morning in 2010? Was she followed? Did she meet someone she knew? Did a random act of violence erase her from the map? We may never know. The truth is buried in silence, not because no one cares, but because no one saw, no one spoke, or maybe someone did and wasn't heard. No ending. There is no resolution, no justice, no closure, only memory. For her family, the grief doesn't fade. It becomes quieter, but never smaller. Her mother speaks out to this day. She refuses to let Iwona become just a file, just a story, just a mystery, a symbol. The case has become a symbol of institutional failure, of endless hope, of how fragile truth can be. But behind the investigations, media storms, and missing files was a real person. Iwona wasn't an idea. She wasn't a mystery. She was a daughter, a friend, a young woman with plans. Still waiting. She deserved to come home. And even now, many still hope she will. Some believe she's alive. Others believe the answer lies somewhere, in the gaps between cameras, in the silence between phone pings, in the space between the last step and the next. Legacy. Stories like Iwona's don't disappear. They live on. In memory, in investigation, in caution, in compassion. In Poland, she is more than a missing person. She is a reminder. Behind every case number is a name. Behind every mystery is a life. And behind every silence, an echo. Vanishing, but never forgotten.